Many years ago, before we moved around in cars, lorries and buses, we rode horses everywhere. And on the road at certain places, there were stones that showed you how many miles you had to travel to reach your destination. These stones were called milestones. These days, of course, we have road signs, we have GPS and Google Maps, but the word milestone is still used today to talk about an important event or a significant stage in the development of something. Well, Reza and I have reached a milestone with this podcast. Welcome to episode 500 of
Aprender Inglés with Reza and Craig.
Hello and welcome to the 500th podcast. Now, with more than 50 years and 500 episodes of teaching between us, we'll help you improve your English and take it to the next level. How are you, Reza?
I'm incredibly full of energy considering I've recorded 500 podcasts.
You're looking very fresh.
You too.
Surprisingly fresh. Oh, and by the way, Happy New Year, because even though we recorded this podcast at the end of 2023, you'll be listening in 2024. So Happy New Year to you, Reza, and to every listener out there.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Reza, would you like to hear the introduction of our very first episode?
Yes, and before Craig plays this, honestly, we haven't prepared this in advance. I have not heard this in years. It's going to be a surprise for me too.
Well, it was recorded on the 8th of October 2013, and it was published on our website, inglespodcast.com, on January the 30th, 2014. Hola y bienvenido a Aprender Inglés con Reza y Craig. Hello, Reza.
Hi, Craig. How's it going?
Pretty good, pretty good. I think first we should introduce ourselves.
Good idea.
So my name's Craig and I'm an English teacher here at the British Council in Valencia. And I'm originally from London.
And my name's Reza. I also live in Valencia and work at the British Council. And I come from Belfast.
So let's begin with our first spot, which is grammar focus. Reza, over to you. So we did the introduction in Spanish in those days, and now we've changed to reach a wider audience, speakers of any language.
Yes, indeed. We have regular feedback from where Craig, I think as far afield as Ethiopia.
Yes,
yeah.
We'll come to that later.
China, no, even further away, I think. China, other places.
Yep, we've reached a lot of people. Now, that was the first episode we recorded. Very echoey, not great sound. We've improved a lot since then, and we don't do those grammar sections and vocabulary sections anymore. And we also get voice messages, as you said, from a wide variety of people all over the world. But do you remember our first one?
I must admit I don't.
I didn't either. So I had a listen. I found the first one, which was very close to us in Valencia, from David.
Hi, Craig and Reza. My name is David. I'm from Valencia. You always do a good job. You had helped me very much in my English, but I need to improve my speaking. Yesterday, I was listening to your podcast number 19. It was very clarifying for me about the use of me too, me neither, so do I, and neither do I. I was listening to the podcast in the gym, doing exercise. Thanks very much for your good job. You help a lot of people to improve our English. Thanks again, David.
I didn't remember that now.
That was the very first one. I didn't remember it either. I don't know if David is still listening. David, are you still out there? If you do, please get back in touch. That was, I think, around episode 22. And we've had many lovely messages over the years. I was listening to quite a few yesterday, trying to pick out and select some for the 500th episode. Do you remember Gabby from Peru?
Of course I do. Gabby has been a regular contributor for years now.
And do you remember when her mum played the flute for us back in episode 176?
I do remember that. That is something I clearly remember.
So here's a question for you listeners. What is the name of the tune, the music, that Gabby's mum is playing here?
Hey Reza and Craig, well, this is a live gig for you guys. My mom plays the flute and I wonder if you guys know the name of this Peruvian famous melody. Well, enjoy it. Hope you like it, guys. Well, I'll be back soon.
Well, that reminded me of a tune by Simon and Garfunkel.
Yeah, they put it in one of their albums. Yeah, they basically copied it.
But what's the original name from Peru?
For me, I know it as El Condor Pasa. That's what Simon and Garfunkel call it as well. I think that's its original name, El Condor Pasa.
Yep, you're right. Well done. And did you get that as you were listening? Well done if you did. Now, over the years, we've learned so much from you, and you've never disappointed us with your enthusiasm for sharing your knowledge. Here's Marcelo from episode 117, and he explains why there is a sun on the flag of Argentina. Rez has spoken about flags many times over the years, and this was a question we asked you, and Marcelo explained.
Hello, Reza. Hello, Craig. You want to know why there is a sun on the Argentinian flag, don't you? Well, we were taught at school that the sun on the flag meant it was a war flag. After Googling it, I found out that the sun represents the Inca god Inti, and it was chosen by those living in America to show that they had separated from the Spaniards or the Spanish crown after the May Revolution in 1810. I hope it contributes to the podcast. Goodbye.
Oh, yes, it did contribute to the podcast. So thank you again, Marcelo, if you're still listening to us.
Yes, and Marcelo, I love any descriptions about flags. If I had my way, we would talk even more about flags, but I guess there are more important things to talk about for you guys to improve your English. So really big thank you to Marcelo for that explanation. Love it.
Now, some AIRC-aholics, and if you are a new listener, an AIRC-aholic, not an alcoholic, an AIRC-aholic, AIRC-oholic, Aprender Inglés with Reza and Craig, that's where the AIRC comes from. Some AIRC-aholics send many messages, and we think of you almost as extended family. And way back in the beginning, we got many, many lovely messages from Mamen, from Biescas in Spain, who we actually met in person. Do you remember that, Reza? She came down with her sister?
I remember it very well. Yes, two lovely people.
So here's Mamen.
Hi Craig, hi Reza, this is Mamen from Biescas. How are you doing? I've just listened to your podcast, the one about sex. I love it. I mean the podcast, of course. I also love the Bea's voice. She has a lovely voice and I could understand everything that she said, and that's amazing. So from now, a big kiss and a big hug. Bye, guys.
That episode that Mamen spoke about was with our friend Bea, an ex-colleague from the British Council, and the episode was 183, how to take your relationship to the next physical level, if you haven't already heard that.
And I agree entirely with Mamen's comment about how lovely Bea's voice is. She has the perfect podcasting voice. I wish I had a voice like that.
Yeah, she does speak very clearly and it's lovely to listen to. So if you want some listening practice, go listen to that episode with Bear. And we've had many, many creative messages over the years, like Fofis from Badajoz, for example.
Hi Craig, hi Reza, this is Fofi from Badajoz. I'm a redneck from the rural part of Spain. I was studying in the 90s my engineer degree when Reza was living in Cáceres. What a pity I didn't meet him in that wonderful city. I suppose Reza knows really well Plaza Mayor, the old city, and of course the Madrila. Now I'm studying a big one course and you are the vitamin I need to improve my rusty skills. Why don't you talk about the Spanish or European cities? You can talk about the culture or the festivals. Have a nice day and never change the way you do these episodes. I enjoy them so much. Reza, recuerda, hacha, higo y higuera. Cheers. Dog, shut up.
So either Fofi was recording that message in a room full of chickens, dogs, geese, I don't know what he had around him, or he's very good at sound design. But that was a very imaginative message, wasn't it?
Yes, that was great. Fofi, if you're still listening, thanks so much. And viva Extremadura.
And speaking of imaginative messages and sound design, do you remember episode 258, Reza, when Javier Delgado from Lucena, Cordoba, sent us 2 audio files of motorbikes? There was a Harley Davidson Nightster, a 1200cc motorbike, and there was a Vespa scooter. And he asked us if we could tell the difference and say which was which. But do you remember why he sent us these 2 motorbike sounds?
I remember him sending the sounds, but I don't remember why now.
Well, here they are, and see if you can tell the difference between the Harley Davidson and the Vespa. Which one was the Harley Davidson and which one was the Vespa?
The Vespa was definitely the first one.
No, you made the same mistake back in episode 258. The Harley Davidson was the first one.
No way.
The Vespa was the second.
No way.
Yeah, much deeper, much bassier sound. And
the Vespa?
No, the Harley Davidson. The Harley Davidson is much fuller, much lower sounding. And the reason that Javier sent us that was we spoke about trademarking sounds. Now, a trademark is when you have something like Nike or Nike's Just Do It with the tick, the Nike tick, and that's trademark, so no other company can use that. And Harley Davidson actually trademarked the sound of their engine.
No way.
That was why we spoke about it and why Javier sent us those 2 sound files.
God, I'd forgotten. I'm getting worried that I've forgotten these really fascinating facts. Normally, when something is as interesting as that, I normally remember it pretty well.
Well, that's why we're doing this summary, so that we can remember stuff. And I've forgotten about the sun in the flag of Argentina, and now I've been reminded.
It's lucky we're doing this episode before complete Alzheimer takes over Craig and my capacity.
Who's Craig?
Now, most of our listeners are from Spain and Latin America. That's no surprise with a website address like Aprender Inglés. But we also have listeners from other countries, quite a lot. Here's a sample of some of those.
My name is Anjeta. I am 11. I live in New Delhi, India, with my father, mother, 2 brothers, and 3 sisters.
Hi, Greg and Teresa. My name is Olga. I'm not from Spain or Latin America. I'm from Russia.
This is Andres from, I'm born in Ecuador, but I lived 14 years in Mallorca, and now I'm living in London since November last year.
I am Nathaniel from Philippines. I am currently working here in UAE as a nurse.
Hello, Reza and Craig. This is Wessel from Goiânia, a city in Brazil.
Hello, podcasters Craig and Belfast Reza. My name is Augustine and I'm from Rwanda, East Africa.
Hi, Reza and Greg. This is Ariel from China.
Hello, Craig. Thank you for your podcast. I have been listening to your podcast. I think I am improving my English skills with your podcast. So, thank you.
This is Yoshi from Tokyo, Japan. I am one of the most devoted listeners of your podcast in Japan, I believe.
Hi, Craig. Hi, Reza. It's me, Paola, from Bogota, Colombia. I'm a pediatrician and I'm also an amateur runner and triathlete.
Reza, did you remember the last voice on that compilation of messages? Who was the last person?
I definitely do, because I met Paula and her sister.
Yes, in Valencia.
In Valencia when they came because they like running and they came to run the marathon. Isn't that right?
Yeah, well, Paula, I don't know if her sister, I think she was just watching, but Paula came to visit. We had a coffee with her and it was lovely to meet her and her sister here in Valencia.
Actually, I had many nice coffees after that, thanks to them, because they gave us some coffee from their family's coffee plantation in Colombia. Do you remember?
I do. It was lovely.
Very good coffee. Oh, wow. That's a beautiful memory.
And he didn't actually say his name, but the third from last speaker was Hamza Haji from Ethiopia. So it's lovely to hear from people from all over the world.
There are many listeners living and working in the UK and America, and also Australia. We'd like to say a special hello to Alberto from Australia and others who have sent voice messages over the years. For example, David, Alejandro, Carlos, Juan, and Julio, to name but a few.
And those people are living and working in Australia. Let us know if you're still there, because I did check these messages going back to the beginning. So maybe you are no longer in Australia. Yes, and while listening back to many, many messages over the last 2 days, it's like visiting old friends. It's people that we have come into contact with, people who have visited us here. So a big hello to all of you. And one thing I did notice while I was listening to those messages is that people were saying things like, this is the 5th time I've recorded this audio. Someone said, I've tried to record this message about 20 times. I'll try again. I don't know how many times I've tried to record this message, etc. And that's exactly the point. That's why we want you to continue sending your messages, because you're practicing your speaking all those times that you are re-recording your messages to us. You're working on your fluency, you're improving your speaking. And if you would like to improve your speaking with me and a small group of students online, there are conversation courses running at the moment. If you're interested in joining and improving your fluency and your speaking, send your emails to me, Craig, at inglespodcast.com, and I'll be more than happy to give you more information. And Reza, you also help students online, don't you?
Yes, I can offer one-to-one classes. I have to be honest and say, not right now, but within the next couple of months, because I'm absolutely chock-a-block at the moment. Chock-a-block means really, really, really busy. I just don't have any free time. So be patient. I will answer your email if you write to me, but you might have to wait a few months for me to have a bit of space. But if you are interested in a one-to-one class, why not drop me an email at belfastreza@gmail.com.
And that's why Reza's such a good teacher. Everybody wants his time and attention. So get in touch and let us know. Maybe we can help you. Now, we've also made a very short list of some of our favorite episodes. No surprises to regular listeners of the podcast that two of my favorites were episode 353 about chocolate and 207 about biscuits. To find these episodes, just go to your internet browser, Google, Chrome, or wherever you search for things, and put in inglespodcast.com/ and then the number, and that will take you to the episodes. Reza, what was one of your favorites?
Well, the biscuit one was one of mine as well. Craig and I are both lifelong devotees of the biscuit. In fact, Craig, do you remember the time we actually ate a biscuit in a particular way live on a podcast?
On dunking, where you put the biscuit inside the tea or coffee to dunk the biscuit. Yeah,
That's
I remember
right.
that.
We've been told to eat a certain biscuit in a certain way, dunked in a certain position, and we did it. And it was a very pleasant experience. I'm not sure many podcasts have experimented with biscuit dunking.
I think we made a video about it as well.
So biscuits is definitely on my list. Another one, and I bet, Craig, you're going to agree with me surely, A Day in the Life of Coco, the podcasting dog.
Yes, I'm sure long-time listeners will remember fondly Coco, the podcasting dog, and we did include his bark many times when he was with us. Unfortunately, Coco passed away, but he is in our memories, and I'm sure in the memories of many listeners. Another favourite of mine was episode 238 about body language, just because I'm very interested in body language and I enjoyed researching that episode and putting it together. So some episodes I feel more affection for because they touch on subjects that I'm very interested in speaking about.
I'm going to mention three together because there's a link between all three of them. Do you remember, Craig, a children's story that we recorded?
A children's story that we recorded. Was it about a bear?
A bear and a sloth?
And a sloth, one of your favourite animals.
Yeah, do you remember that?
I do.
That was a fun episode. Craig and I played the parts of a bear and a sloth. And that was episode 418, a children's story. I thought that was good fun. And also, even better, in fact, listening to your stories, listeners. So I definitely remember very fondly Josep's true English story. If you remember, Josep is the scuba diver from Barcelona.
From Barcelona. Mm-hmm.
I liked his episode, 171. And another episode from a listener, a really interesting one, The Old Satchel Story by Jose Molina Marco. That was 449. Do you remember his story?
Yes, the child on the train looking at the satchel, looking at the bag of the old man on the train. That was a lovely story. And I know Jose is still listening because he's been in touch recently. I don't know if Josep is still listening. If you're out there, Josep, please get in touch and say hello. It'd be lovely to hear from you. Going back to your recommendation for the children's story, if you do have kids, I think that's a really good episode for them to listen to because of the animals and the way we recorded it. Another one I really liked was 10 Fish You Should Know. That was episode 217, just because it's really difficult for me sometimes to remember the names of fish in Spanish, the translation from English to Spanish. And we mentioned the 10 most popular ones that you'd find on a menu and spoke about fish. And all of those episodes where we did a deep dive, and a deep dive means to go into a lot of detail about something. And others that come to mind, we did a deep dive on nuts, like peanuts and cashew nuts and almonds and those kinds of things. And beer, we spoke about beer. And cheese and wine. So all of those specific episodes where we really go into the vocabulary on that particular subject, and they seem to be connected to food. which is no surprise.
Yes, Craig and I both love our food. So I've put on my list of highlights anything connected to food. We've already mentioned biscuits, and Craig mentioned the wine. I would add to that butcher vocabulary. I thought that was an interesting episode. We had a request. I can't remember now where it was from, but somebody specifically requested butcher vocabulary. So not necessarily just the name of meat on your plate, but actually words and phrases that you need to use when you're in a butcher shop asking for meat. That was a good episode, I thought.
It was, and we'd been asked to speak about meat and butcher's vocabulary for a long time before we recorded that episode, but we couldn't do it, unfortunately, because the stakes were too high.
Oh, you see what he's done there? Do you see what he's done there? The stakes. S-T-A-K-E or S-T-E-A-K? Aha.
A play on words. Speaking of animals, chicken idioms was fun. That was quite recent. That was episode 450, just because I had no idea there were so many idioms connected to chickens. So that was fun.
And I just want to redress the balance here because I'm worried about offending anybody. I like a bit of meat myself. I can certainly go without it for a while. But don't forget the episode about vegans and vegetarians. We try to be all inclusive and everybody's welcome to listen, whether you eat meat or not, whether you drink wine or not, cheese, we don't care. So 274 vegans and vegetarians. That was a good one when we interviewed Agata, who is a vegan. I like that. And last but not least, if Craig hasn't mentioned it already, I can't remember, a very recent episode, 491, about cakes and pastries.
Yes, and that was suggested by long-time listener and friend of the show, Pilar, who lives in France. And that was a wonderful episode. Very kind of Pilar to send us a gift, a present for Christmas 2023, which we are going to open live on the podcast. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm salivating. My mouth is watering.
Here we go. Let's see what's in the box.
So, we're opening the box here, which is in the package. Oh, the first thing is the smell, and then visually as well. Oh, they look like really good chocolates. You can tell.
We're looking at a box of lovely dark chocolates, a selection of different kinds, and they all look absolutely delicious.
Oh, wow, the smell. I can't record much more now. I can't concentrate.
And there's a note from Pilar. She says, "Hello, I've prepared you a box of artisanal chocolates from my shop with dark chocolate, of course. I hope you enjoy them. Thanks for your work. Best regards, Pilar." Thank you very, very much. Let's taste one.
Oh, Pilar, what have you done? What have you done? You've ruined our waistline.
That is delicious, Pilar. That's fantastic quality chocolate.
Oh, so good. Very, very good quality. Oh, really good. Wow. Well, I'm just trying to calm down after my taste buds there were opened by so many delicious flavors.
What are your taste buds?
Your taste buds are those little sensors really on your tongue, which help you appreciate the taste, the flavor of something. And my taste buds are alive after trying a couple of those chocolates there, Pilar. I'm just reading what it says on the box. Laugh all you like at my pronunciation. But since we have now eaten one of these chocolates, we can definitely guarantee this place. It says Dominique Cacamot, maître artisan, pâtissier, chocolatier, glacier.
Très bon.
So that's Dominique Cacamot. Highly recommended. Fantastic.
And it's near Lyon, I believe. So we will put the website address in the show notes, and you can see the show notes and all of these episode links at inglespodcast.com/500. And if you are in the Lyon area, we recommend you visit Pilar in her shop for some wonderful chocolates. Now, we also have received one or two messages from listeners with their personal recommendations. And first on the list is Vesel from Brazil.
Hello, Reza and Craig. This is Wessel from Brazil. I want to thank you for your wonderful podcast and congratulations on your great achievement of 500 episodes. want to say that my favorite episode is about the moral dilemmas that you dealt with a great sense of humor. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Vessel, for your feedback. That was Moral Dilemmas, episode 475. And next, Christina from Marbella.
Hi, Reza and Craig. How are you doing? This is Christina from Marbella. First of all, congratulations for your 500 episodes of English podcasts. A wonderful journey helping us to improve our English and get more confident for speaking and listening as well. I think you deserve to have a very big celebration. Thank you very much for all your work. Well, it's rather difficult for me to choose one episode because I enjoy and learned a lot with each one of them. But I have to do it. And the winner is episode 469, Affordable Luxuries. Because in this episode, you speak about something that I usually do when I want to reward myself for my achievements or when I need to cheer me up as well. Well, that's all. Thank you very much and bye-bye.
Thank you, Christina, and a Happy New Year to you.
Thanks so much, Christina. I just want to point out one little mistake you made. You said to cheer me up. Well, if you, Christina, are going to cheer up Christina, yourself, then you have to add self, remember, in English. So
reflexive, yeah.
Cheer myself up. If you are the subject and the object, add self. So you're going to cheer yourself up. Can I just, it's too late now, but I would like to add something to the list of affordable luxuries, and they are Dominique Cacamon chocolates. Can we just add them, please?
That's a really good idea. Many, many thanks to Jessica from Brazil for this message and her favorite podcast.
Hi, Rez and Craig. This is Jessica from Brazil. How are you? Firstly, I just want to congratulate you both for the 500 episodes. It's not for everybody, and you should be really proud of yourselves. About my favorite episode, it was so hard to choose one. I just had a glimpse in all of them to see what comes to my memory, which one would stand out the most for me. And I just go for the episode 447, Overcoming Shyness and Hesitation when speaking English, because I always thought that I have this problem of shyness and lack of confidence. And you gave us a lot of good tips about how to be more proactive and taking steps little by little. You can overcome it and become more confident, and it really helped me. But I just want to say that I've learned something new from all the episodes you've done, and I'm so grateful for you both. Just keep doing this amazing work. See you. Bye-bye.
And finally, we have Jose from Sevilla.
Hello, Greg and Reza. Congratulations on reaching 500 episodes. That is an amazing number, and it means that we have spent a lot of time together. So in that way, we are like friends. I was wondering which episode I like the most, but actually I love every single episode because the point is to learn new expressions, vocabulary. So in just a few words is to keep in touch with the English language. If I had to choose one episode, I would say one of the latest that was used to be used to, because it's really, really useful to keep these expressions in mind. So I'm looking forward to listening to your 500th episode, and I'm sure it will be amazing. Thanks for all your amazing work. Bye bye.
Thank you, Jose, long-time listener and friend of the show. Did you notice the lovely third conditional sentence that Jose used? If I had to choose one, I would choose episode 489. Well done. Fantastic.
Yes, thanks, Jose. And I think it's important that you choose that episode because it sounds not as exciting as some others. So it's very important to remember that we do have to speak about grammar sometimes, and we do have to talk about vocabulary patterns sometimes. We can't always just talk about interesting themes like cakes and pastries, although we do enjoy them. Sometimes we've got to focus on the things like the grammar, the used to, and things like that. So don't think that it has to always be really, really, really fun. Sometimes it's more work than fun. Sometimes it's more fun than hard work. We try to keep a balance.
Yeah, that's a good point. And although many people listen to keep in touch with their English and improve their listening, their vocabulary, as Jose said, but also people listen because they need to reach a goal, to pass an exam, to pass a job interview in English, or do a really successful presentation. So here are a few people who have had success because of English and because of listening to the podcast.
Hello, Ressa. Hi, Craig. I'm Austina. I'm 19 years old and I'm from Argentina. I just wanted to thank you because a couple of weeks ago I got my FC exam results and I got an A, which I didn't expect at all. And I think it's all thanks to you guys because I spent my summer holidays listening to you and preparing for the exam. And I actually got the highest score in the listening part. So I have to thank you a lot.
Hi Reza, hi Craig. I'm Carla from Gran Canaria in the Canary Islands. Well, I just wanted to say thank you very much because I've recently got my marks from my first certificate, which I did a month ago, and I had 177 points. And most of it is thanks to you guys because since I started to listen to your podcast, I've got better with my English.
Hi friends, hi listeners. I'm here to tell you that I've recently got the Cambridge CAE, so yes, now I am a C1 guy. It's another string to my bow. Well, by listening your podcast, I've got the inspiration, the motivation and the determination to study English seriously. Because right now I am recycling myself to become more employable. I don't want to sound pretentious, but I feel proud of myself. Why not? 2 years ago, I didn't have any English qualifications, so I did it from scratch. As you know, there are plenty of resources on the internet to learn English, but definitely you are on the top, yes. I wanted to share it with the listeners, just to say that everything is possible if you work hard, and the two of you are the perfect support to make it less difficult. So thank you again. That's all for now. A big hug for you. Bye.
I've got some news. The first is that I got my CAE. I am a C1 English teacher now. Way to go!
Hi Reza, hi Craig. It's Joanna from San Sebastian. This is the first time I talk to you. I have just passed my B1 level test.
Hi, dear Craig and Reza. How is it going? How is everything? I hope you're doing well. I took the IELTS exam and I got at 7.5 in the overall. And I wouldn't have expected something like that because I started with my process of learning English last year, almost from scratch. I didn't know anything. And I remember that I started with the listenings that were available in the Mansión Inglés webpage, and I couldn't understand the basic ones. And finally, with a lot of studying, listening, and reading, I was able to get that result. So I am very happy, and I think that all your podcasts accompanied me during this journey. So I'll be grateful my whole life. Thank you very much.
Hi, Reza. Hi, Craig. I'm Mamen from Badajoz. I want to tell you that I passed my exam for the first level of B1 at the official language school, and I am very happy. The podcast has helped me very much.
Hello, Reza. Hello, Craig. It's Jasmine from Cordoba, Spain. I've been listening to your podcast since the beginning of the pandemic, and it has been really useful for me. On December 2020, I passed the first certificate exam with a score of 174, being the listening and the speaking the best marks. You've helped me to improve a lot my fluency, and that's why I want to thank you with all my heart.
Wow, such positivity, such lovely comments. Thanks very much. Really, we appreciate it. And what a mixture of people. People who've been studying for quite a while, some people who just started a year ago in one case and got, I think it was B2, somebody in 2 years started from scratch, from nothing, got to C1, and they said largely because of our podcast. Wow, fantastic.
What does starting from scratch mean?
Starting from scratch means absolutely zero. So it was the third listener, I can't remember the name right now, but the third contributor there said that he started 2 years ago and he's now past C1, and it was largely because of our podcast from scratch, from zero to C1 in a couple of years. Wow. All of you, well done, and thanks so much for listening, and please keep studying, keep practicing.
Absolutely. And we didn't include those messages to blow our own trumpet. If you blow your own trumpet, then your ego is very big and you want everybody to know how good you are. No, that's not the reason. The reason is that it's one of the reasons we continue to do this podcast, is that we think we're helping you. And when we get messages like that, it's like putting gasoline in our tanks, and it really motivates us to keep on creating more podcasts for you. So thank you for letting us know that you've been successful with your English. Now, thanks to Jose Molino Marco, who has sent us many stories over the years. Thank you to all the guests that have been on to share their expertise in specific areas. And I'll just name one or two. There was Stephen recently from Sen7, who specializes in the news in English. Many have commented on Hadar's episode about pronunciation. That's Hadar Shemesh. Claire came on to speak about how to write a really good CV to get a job. Christian from Kangaroo English about fluency. Bree came on the podcast speaking about SMART goals and how to organize your studies. And more recently, there's been Estefania speaking about flight attendants and pilots and English connected to airlines. And of course, the one and only Luke Thompson. Many of you listen to Luke as well for rambling, because Luke likes to ramble and he's very entertaining. So thank you to those guests and to anybody who I have forgotten.
Don't stop. Please keep sending your messages in 2024 and far into the future. It's the only way we know anyone is listening. Basically, it's as simple as this. If we didn't get any feedback, we wouldn't carry on with the podcast. There'd be no point. It would be pointless. We live off and need your feedback. And if there is no feedback, then clearly we're not doing our job. We're not doing what we're supposed to do. So please do keep sending the feedback in.
And I know what you're thinking. Well, how can we do that, especially if you're a new listener? Well, you go to speakpipe.com. That's speakpipe.com/Ingles podcast, and you leave your voice message there. You can also reach us via SpeakPipe on the website, inglespodcast.com, and you have 90 seconds to leave your voice message. But please record your message several times and try to improve each time on the previous one. Reza, how can people get in touch with us by email?
If you want to write with your feedback, you could send an email to craig@inglespodcast.com or me, belfastreza@gmail.com.
This podcast is sponsored in part by mansioningles.com. Why not visit the online store? Go to store, store, www.mansioningles.net, and there you'll find paid courses that will help you with your English.
Another very important part of the podcast is the support we get from Patreon supporters. Patreon, that's spelled Patreon. And the people on that Patreon program, they donate money. It could be as little as $1.50 per month. And as a thank you to those people, we give them instant access to audio transcriptions of the podcast. So they get to see every single word which we say. If you're interested, follow the link in the show notes. It's patreon.com/Ingles podcast.
We don't have time to mention every Patreon supporter individually, but we will say hello, welcome, and thank you to our latest supporters who have joined us this month. And they are Paula Porfirio Montenegro, Deborah Lopez, Isabel Ramon Gonzalez. Thank you to you and to all of our Patreon supporters. What's next week, Reza?
Next week, we're going to talk about assertiveness. And the reason is it was suggested from listener feedback. As we were just saying, that's what we live off. So thanks to Ezequiel from Argentina for giving us that idea.
Actually, it was more than a suggestion from Ezequiel. It was more of an order. And that shows how assertive Ezequiel might be. Listen to next week's podcast and learn some vocabulary connected to assertiveness. Until next time, if you enjoyed this and all previous podcasts, please tell your friends so that more people can listen. Have a wonderful week. Until next time, it's goodbye from Reza.
And it's bye-bye from Craig.
The music in this podcast is by Piers. The track is called See You Later.